All right, let's chat. What to do when you are just tired and you can't take a break. Hi, I am Rachel from The Nerdy Homeschooler. I am a second-generation homeschool mom to 3 young boys, and I love to make nerdy homeschool videos here on my channel, so you can subscribe and follow along if you want to see more videos like this and more homeschool encouragement. So today we're chatting some practical strategies for what to do when you are just tired, but realistically it's not time to take a break from homeschool. It's time to press on, because a lot of the times the advice that you're going to get is, okay, you're tired, just take a break, take a day off, get a change of routine, or take, a week off or a couple weeks off. And when you come back, you'll be refreshed. And I think that can be good advice sometimes. Like sometimes you really do just need that day off or that week off, and you do need to take breaks. But there are also other times when it's like, actually, I just can't take a break right now. We can't afford a break right now. Or I'm in a really long season of hard and tiring stuff, and I just cannot take a break for this whole entire season. That wouldn't be fair to our family. That wouldn't be fair to my children's education. Because the reality is that, hard seasons can actually last a really long time. If you're in the toddler season and you have a tough toddler, the toddler season doesn't last a month. It doesn't last 6 months. That can last a solid couple of years. And then if you have toddler after toddler after toddler, you're ending up with some tough years that are just simply going to require a lot of you. So I'm going to talk about some practical strategies to face these seasons when, you are tired. You're admitting that you're tired. Okay, how can we press forward? My number 1 tip is problem solve. Try to just identify one thing in your day that you realize is draining you, that you realize is causing exasperation and just adding to your load, and problem solve to figure out what to do about that problem. So I'll give you an example, and this is one I kind of showed in a previous video. I use one of those cute little rolling homeschool carts to keep my homeschool stuff on. And for a long time, I had the bottom shelves filled with, math manipulatives, some puzzles, some cute little stencils that we would use, like a whole bunch of little school supplies. Well, then I had a crawling baby who turned into a toddler, and that baby, then toddler, was every single day emptying out everything off of the bottom 2 shelves of the cart and emptying out the boxes and pulling out all the pieces and just creating a ginormous mess all over the floor of the room where we're doing schoolwork. And on the one hand, okay, it was kind of okay. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't damaging. It was keeping him busy while we were doing our schoolwork lessons, but also it was a huge mess to clean up every day, and these are useful tools, and I didn't really want pieces lost. And so this was going on for a while until I realized, you know what? I'm going to solve this problem, because it is just causing me some angst every day that we're having this just ginormous mess of all of these mixed up pieces that all have to go back into their boxes every single day. So I decided to solve the problem. I took all those things that I had stored on those little shelves for years, I took them and I put them up on the high shelves on my bookshelf. I rearranged my space to get those very tempting little sets out of the reach of the tiny guy. And you know what? Suddenly, we don't have a huge mess to clean up every day. Suddenly, he's going in the playroom, he's finding his cars and his toys. He doesn't have this alluring set of puzzles and stencils and everything to get into. So sometimes we might be living with a problem that is causing us frustration, and we're neglecting to take the time to think, can I do something to solve this problem? So just try to think of one thing that you're like, hey, if I could take this off my plate, that would be one little way to make my day easier. Think about what you could do. Perhaps it's one behavioral issue with your children that you could really tackle, that you could really put all your parental resources into saying, hey, if we could handle this behavioral issue, that's actually going to make the whole rest of the days run smoother and take a burden off of me. Maybe it's dishes. Maybe just for some reason you don't like having to stop and do the lunch dishes or the breakfast dishes. Well, if you have school-age children, you do have at least one child who's old enough to wash dishes. So do some training, make it part of the routine, make it part of their responsibilities, and have a child wash the lunch dishes every day so that you never have dishes piling up throughout the day. It's so simple, but sometimes we forget to do the problem solving on the things that are aggravating us the most during the day. Number 2, my suggestion when you're tired is add something that you love to your homeschool routine. And I know this is a little bit of different advice than you might expect, because so many people will just say, scale things down, take things away. But I think a lot of times when we do that, we end up taking away some of the extras, and some of those extras might actually be life-giving to both our kids and to us, because the extras tend to be, little interest-based things or just fun things. So I'm gonna say, if you're drained, if you're tired, actually see if you can just add one little thing in your school week, one little thing in your school day that's something that you as the mom actually just enjoy for the sheer delight of it. So one thing I did recently was I added in a book of Shel Silverstein poems for kids, a light in the attic, a light in the attic. And Shel Silverstein, he's not everybody's cup of tea. This is one of my childhood books. I enjoyed these poems and the little illustrations quite a bit as a child. There's probably, 2 or 3 I might skip over for my boys with a little bit of crudeness to the humor. But they're funny, they're silly, they're clever. I enjoyed them as a kid, and it's been really delightful to me to just share these funny poems that I enjoyed when I was around their age. And so it's a good thing to remember that, hey, just because it's school time, it doesn't mean we're only reading Robert Frost or, Stevenson poetry, like the serious stuff. We can also put in something that we just enjoy and that we just want to share with our kids. So we can add something in that is fun for us. So think about you and what you love, what, lights you up. Add one of those things into your school routine. 3rd tip, when it is rest time, which I know that rest time might be few and far between, but hopefully you're getting a few minutes of time, in the afternoons, in between breaking up sibling fights or something. When it is rest time, choose to do something that is actually restful for you. So that's going to be different for different people, but identify what things fuel you and rest you more than others. So I use computers quite a bit. I wake up early in the morning and work on my business. I do a lot with computers. I do, video editing, all of that. Being on the computer is not restful for me because I'm researching, I am writing, I'm creating products, working on my business, working on videos. So when I'm on a computer, that switches my brain into work and productivity mode because that's what I use computers for, as a tool. That's not a restful thing to me. But for me, sitting down with a mystery novel or a fantasy novel or just something fun that is for me to read, that actually is restful, and that's something that I crave, and that's something that's like, oh yeah, I got to do this. So find those little restful activities that can fit into even a short time slot, moment of peace. Some households will be more peaceful than others. I have a household with 3 small boys, so I'm not on the more peaceful side. And my final tip for you today is to have patience with your season. I am a Christian, and I've been waking up every day with the prayer, God, give me the strength and the wisdom I need for this day. Give me the energy that I need for the work that you've placed before me today. So I don't seek to face my days alone. I don't want to face the challenges of the day alone. And sometimes you can be in a long, busy, exhausting season, and that's just the fact of it. That's just the fact with raising young kids. And it can be a really long season for those of you who have many children, but it won't always be this way. And sometimes I think some of our exhaustion just comes with kind of angst or frustration with, I kind of wish I was experiencing a different season right now, but that's not the season I'm in. So just trying to find settledness and contentment in this season, where you are at right now, versus trying to put together activities that don't work for this season. So for example, I like to sew. I've sewed many fun and awesome projects. I've sewed clothing, blankets, curtains, all sorts of things in my life, and I've actually wanted to improve my quilting skills and make more elaborate quilts. I've made simple ones, but I also have a toddler, and quilting, I don't know how many of you quilt, but to me, especially with my house set up with my toddler, quilting is not a good hobby to try to delve into while you're also full-time taking care of a toddler. There's just too many pins, there's scissors, there's small pieces of fabric, there's all of that. So I have taken that desire to improve my quilting skills, and I haven't given up on it, but I have said, you know what? I'm actively recognizing that that's not something I'm going to choose to pursue in this season of life. And this season is not going to last forever, and I'm going to miss it when it's gone. There will be another season of life when it's a lot safer and not so frustrating to have, little pieces of fabric laid out everywhere, and maybe even when I have bigger kids, they'll want to join me in this hobby. But right now, I'm saying I'm not going to pursue a hobby that will cause frustration when I have a toddler. I'm going to lean fully into the season that I'm in, press pause on this, and I'll find hobbies and restful things that I can do that align with my season. All right, let me know in the comments, what are some of the most effective strategies that you have used when you find yourself simply tired? And taking a break, is not the best option. So what do you do then? All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.